Hey, yeah, welcome back. Just an update on the Charlie Robinson case. You remember the guy who killed Charlie Robinson back last year? So yeah, here's an update on the case and everything. He had a meltdown. As a breakdown of Judge Torrens' recent ruling regarding media access and sealed documents in the Tyler Robinson trial highlight the overwhelming forensic and digital evidence connected the suspect to the September 10th assassination of Charlie Kirk. Yeah, that happened last year. It's almost a year since he got killed. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the video, shall we?
And its motion is granted in part and denied in part. Finally, turning to defendants.
Denied. Pretty big update in the upcoming Charlie Kirk case trial, where alleged loser Tyler Robinson, who, hey, look, many people have a lot of questions about what happened in this trial. To me, I have no doubt that Tyler was the one that pulled the trigger. What I do have doubts about is who else knew about it, how many people covered it up. Again, famously, there were many social media posts about it before it ever even happened. There was a book released before it ever even happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, I still think other people knew about it. I still think Lance Twiggs, Tyler Robinson's groomer, I believe he was involved. And I think we're going to see that come out at trial. That's why this trial is so important. That's why televising this trial is so important. Whether or not you're a big fan of Candace, for example, and you think everything she said about this is correct, I'm not here to dissuade you. I'm here to try and bring you onto my team and agree, and I think you will, that televising this trial is important to both of us.
Yeah.
It's important to both the morons that believe the official narrative, like me, and it's important to people that have dug deeper and have more questions. This trial must be televised. And Tyler Robinson and his defense team late Friday were not only begging for the trial to be delayed, but they were begging for no cameras in the courtroom, and they were begging for files to be sealed. And now the judge has spoken out on all three, epically crushing their dreams. Let's go to his actual official reading here.
Explaining why the potential evidence discussed in the underlying
apparently just in our right ear
nature that its disclosure could taint the jury pool. The potential evidence discussed in the motion is
let me see. Well, this is supposed to be the original.
It discusses the process of scientific and forensic testing of physical evidence. It does not contain any obvious private or inflammatory information. While
they were trying to say, hey, we have all this evidence and it's all private, and we know we want to protect the trans community. That's really what this was about. Because this is, in my opinion, it's going to come down to there's going to be all sorts of Discord messages about the trans community and about, getting Charlie Kirk for them and all this stuff. And that's really why they're trying to cover it. I don't think Tyler Robinson at any point has denied his guilt. In fact, he's confessed 4 or 5 times. Now, again, remember, this is a guy that, confessed to his parents, confessed to police, confessed to the Discord server, confessed to his boyfriend. All worth pointing out. There's going to be tapes of all that. There's going to be videos of all that. There's going to be his original meeting with the police where he, again, admits it. All of that stuff is going to come out in the trial, which is why I want to see it. Now, for people who, again, have their questions, that's cool. I think they'd want to see it too, right? I'm trying to find somebody put out a pretty good thread on all the many times that he had actually confessed to it, but I guess it's not as important because people, why did I bookmark that? Because people have, their own questions, but they've also seen the quote-unquote official narrative, which is what I'd be quoting there, that there's, many times that there's essentially a mountain of evidence against him, but, I'm fine waiting for the trial to see that. We'll go here. Charlie Kirk case, judge denies efforts to restrict media access to the court documents. The Utah man accused of taking Charlie Kirk's life was back in court late Friday as a judge denied some efforts by his attorneys to restrict public access to court documents while not ruling out the possibility of closing some portions in an upcoming hearing. Now, what he actually said there was, you can come back on March 30th, which I believe is the next pre-trial update, and you can make a case for any specific pieces of the evidence that you would like sealed. Thus far, this judge has been based, has said no, and has said, nah, you're good. This is going to be on TV. The outcome sets the stage for an April hearing, in which attorneys for Tyler Robinson will make their case to try and exclude TV cameras, microphones, and photographers from the courtroom. Judge Tony Graff has been weighing the public's right to know details about the case against concerns by defense attorneys that heightened media attention could undermine Robinson's right to a fair trial. Prosecutors and Erica Kirk and attorneys for news organizations have urged Graff to open the proceedings. The victim's wife wants it out there. That's all that matters. Right? If Erica wanted it sealed, I don't know, it should probably still be public either way. Prosecutors intend to seek the death penalty for Robinson, who is charged in the September 10th assassination of Charlie Kirk. Robinson still has not entered a plea. I think he's going to try to plea out. I think he's going to try to get a deal that takes capital punishment off the table, but I do not think that we should accept that. I think that there should be, I don't want another Brian Kohlberger where in the 11th hour it's like, well, just kidding, just kidding. Graff said the defense failed to make its case to keep the motion private, but he would welcome a balancing of all factors when deciding which portions of the upcoming trial may be closed. Stacey Visser, an attorney for Robinson, told the judge before the ruling that the defense is not arguing in the court of public opinion. There seems to be an idea that flooding the public square with information from this courtroom will somehow dispel conspiracy theories or shift public narratives. What they're saying is, quite frankly, Candace Owens and Ian Carroll and those types, they're trying to use them they're actually trying to use Candace to seal the evidence, is what they're saying. They're saying, hey, there's these people that are asking for all this evidence. We don't want to give it to them. But that's not the truth. Robinson's defense team went on to say that the April 17th hearing will involve discussions about prejudicial pretrial publicity, such as evidence that has yet to be admitted, personal opinions about guilt, or public statements that would otherwise be inadmissible in the court. Revisiting that in open court could end up re-inflicting a wound to Robinson's rights, defense attorney Michael Byrd said. Christopher Ballard, a prosecutor for Utah State Attorney's Office, dismissed those arguments. He said, carefully questioning during the jury selection and tools like expanding the jury pool can easily ensure the defendant gets a fair trial. So to say that this content tornado or that there's a barrage of media coverage doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be any prejudice to this defendant. Ballard noted that most of the evidence that will be discussed in April is already public anyway.
His rights? Fuck his fucking rights. What about rights to Charlie Kirk, huh? What about rights to Charlie Kirk's kids? Wife. He won't be able to hold his wife no more. He won't be able to hold his kids no more. He won't be able to see his kids grow up no more. Fuck Tyler Robinson's rights. Okay? Fuck that son of a bitch's rights. He had no right to go there and kill Charlie Kirk. On live TV, in front of his kids. In front of his wife. In front of everybody who supported the United States and loved the United States. He had no right doing that. So they want to bend the knee to some rainbow peddle little fucker. Fuck Tyler Robinson's rights. Okay? He's lucky he didn't get shot at home right there or get beat to death right there in prison. No, you know why he didn't get that? Because the Utah governor is a fucking Democrat. Matter of fact, let's pull it up right here. I bet you anything, the governor of Utah is a fucking Democrat. Okay, he's a Republican. I lost that bet. But he's one of those woke ones, no doubt. Yeah, he's one of those woke ones. The fear of the Democrat and everything. But my point is this. Fuck Tyler Robinson's rights. Okay? Fuck that shit. Throw the book at his thumb out your ass, hang his ass, do something. But fuck Tyler Robinson's rights. He has no rights at all, in my opinion. He had no right killing Charlie Kirk. I'm sorry, he had no right. Alright, none whatsoever. But they want to give that, man, fuck that shit. Alright, the dude killed Charlie Kirk for no fucking reason because the damn Democrats was bad mouthing Charlie Kirk, calling Charlie Kirk all kinds of bad names, got these dumbasses thunk he was something like that and get him killed. I'm sorry, but it's just fucking wrong. And they want to pander to this son of a bitch's ass? Hell no. Throw the book at his ass. Make sure he never gets out of jail. All that shit, the whole 9 yards. That's how I feel about it. Cause that dude had no right killing Charlie Kirk. At all. And I blame the Democrats for shooting all those false lies about that. Because they had no right doing that. You didn't. I know some asshole out there going to say, oh, it was, no, it's not a misunderstanding. The Democrats do this shit to make people do what they do to work for them so their hands will be clean. People don't understand that, but they do that shit. Democrats are the kind of people that would do shit just to get by with it and then gaslight people and everything. So yeah. But I'm going to post more stuff up here, so if I ain't playing more video, but I'm trying to get to what I need to get down here. I'm just giving my opinion. I know a few people ain't gonna like what I'm saying. I don't really give a F about it. And there's also theories going around that Chuck Norris was killed, which I believe that might be true, because Chuck Norris was pretty good. He just went for a small little fall, and all of a sudden he died the next damn day. I'm sorry, something's going on about it as well. So I don't know what that means either. But I'm gonna look into that too. There's just a lot of shit here going on that don't make sense. Truly don't make any sense. But when you try to get into it, you get hit with roadblocks. And everything like that. So yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of weird shit happening. These conspiracy theories throwing all kinds of weird shit around, so yeah. Which might be some truth to it, might not be some truth to it. It's a chance you gotta take. Anyway, well, let's get back to the Tyler Robinson video, shall we? Alright, here we go.
So the hearing should be open. Coalitions of national and local news, including the Associated Press, have been fighting to preserve media access in the case. Michael Judd, an attorney for news media, urged the judge to keep the upcoming hearing entirely open. Media access has been the focal point of several recent hearings, with the judge placing temporary restrictions on local TV stations for showing Robinson's shackles, which I think is ridiculous. in violation of a court order, and filming any close-up that might allow viewers to interpret what he was discussing with his attorneys. The judge has also prevented full video recordings of the incident at Kirk from being shown in court after the defense attorney argued that the terrible footage would interfere with a fair trial. An estimated 3,000 people will attend the outdoor rally attended the rally to hear Kirk. Last month, the judge also rejected the defense motion to disqualify the prosecutors handling the case. Robinson's attorney had sought to disqualify the prosecutors. That also got shut down.
The court orders defendant to file a version of his motion to exclude cameras, referencing docket 305, that redacts private information referenced but not specifically cited in his motion to classify. The redacted versions of the motion to exclude cameras must be filed with the court by the end of business on March 30th, 2026. If no redacted motion is filed by that time, the court will reclassify docket 305 as public. If a redacted motion is filed, the court will maintain the private classification on docket 305. Accordingly, defendant's motion is granted in part and denied in part. Finally, turning to defendant's
Denied.
motion to classify, reply, docket 400. Defendant seeks to classify as private his reply memorandum in support of his motion to exclude cameras from the courtroom. Defendant argues that his reply memorandum should be private because it references portions of the motion to exclude cameras, which he has also moved to classify as discussed in the ruling on docket 310.
Okay.
Defendant does not cite any part of the reply memorandum that references potentially prejudicial information in the motion to exclude. Based on the record before it, the court concludes that defendant has not provided a sufficient basis for the court to
Get shut down. This is a thread I want to put out. There's already a mountain of evidence that Tyler Robinson was in fact the trigger puller of Charlie Kirk, and we've only seen the tip of the iceberg. Robinson confessed 5 different times to 4 separate people. His own parents identified both him and the weapon and helped turn him into the police. His rifle was found right next to the crime scene, in the same direction that he was filmed walking. He told his boyfriend why he took Charlie's life, and that he was going to try to retrieve the weapon, which he said he wrapped in a towel before a police officer stopped him attempting to retrieve it. His DNA is on the rifle, the trigger, and the spent casing, the unfired rounds, the towel he told his boyfriend he wrapped around the weapon, and the screwdriver he left on the roof. The tool used to engrave the unfired casings was also found at his house. The prosecutors haven't even presented their case yet. Imagine all the call recordings of him confessing to his parents and saying that he would rather take his own life than go to prison. Imagine the recorded interviews with his parents, his boyfriend, and the family that he confessed to. Imagine the digital trail on his phone, his search history, messages, and cell phone location data. We've only seen the tip of the iceberg, and that's already more evidence than any public assassination case I can think of. This is all just from charging documents put together within a few days after his own parents helped him turn himself in. I mean, it's going to be, again, I want this trial to happen, and I want, the evidence to be beyond a reasonable doubt, and I want any co-conspirators to be brought up, but the trial hasn't even started yet, and I think a lot of questions will be answered with the trial, which is why it must happen and why it must be public. I hope you were informed by this video. If you were,